Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pageant Sit Down. My name's Regina Lena, and we are on episode 96. I am joined, of course, with my co-host, Elizabeth. Hey, Liz.
Hi, Regine. How are you?
I'm good. How's your week been?
Not too bad. We have a lot of school going on, but pretty normal November week for me. Nothing crazy.
Love that you're busy. Which reminds me, we do have an announcement at the end of the show, so make sure you stay tuned. But before we go on, I just want to give a shout out to Scott Dion Brown. So the Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, where this show came from, just celebrated 4 years on air and 200 episodes. Here on the Pageant Sit Down, we're at episode 96, so we're chasing after that. But we have a very special guest, don't we, Liz?
We do. We have one of our very good pageant sisters on today to share about her new title, Miss Rayside Balfour, Chloé Arsenault. Welcome.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you.
Yes. And of course, we wouldn't have Chloé on the episode without having Sarah admins in the chat. So hi, Sarah.
Hi.
She says hey. So Chloé, you are no stranger to neither Liz or I, but I'm sure there are some viewers who don't know who you are. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, yeah. Great question. It's probably the most common question in pageantry, but definitely the best one. So my name is Chloé Arsenault. I'm currently 20 years old. I've been involved in pageantry, I want to say about 5 years now. And I mean, I've changed so much within those 5 years. I went from competing in the teen division and now into Miss. So definitely moved up, not in heel height, I would say. I started with my little 3-inch heels and now I have 6-inch heels. So pageant journey has definitely been a crazy ride. I was previously Miss Teen Galaxy Canada, and I am now competing again at the Miss Ontario Regional Canada pageant with my first pageant title I ever received. So I'm very excited. I thought I was going to continue with pageantry for a little bit, but we all say that, and then we're back in the loop. So I'm just excited to continue to share my platform. It's something I hold very dear to my heart, and it's something I work hard for every day. So I definitely want to touch base on what I'm doing for women in male-dominated industries. I'm the only female in my mining programs, so it can be difficult. It's not always glorious, but we need more female advocates, and I'm exactly working for being that role model for the younger women in the industry.
I love that. You answered my question, which was, what is your platform? But you just kept going. But you have a very specific platform, which I think is amazing. And, having known you all these years, this has been your platform. Like, I know some people go back and forth. So can you elaborate a little bit more on what your platform is?
Yeah. So I obviously brought one of my favorite accessories. Yes. So this right here is a crown that I welded myself. So I am touching base in a few trades, so welding, carpentry, and just recently started getting into mechanics. So my platform is encouraging women in male-dominated careers. Although I can't touch base on every trade because there's quite a few. I kind of made a goal for myself this year where I would start learning different trades. So in order for me to have my platform, I want to understand the base of every trade. It's important because they're all different in a way, but they all kind of collide together. The one thing I did notice is that there isn't a lot of female role models that are in the skilled trades, just because we're so few women who do pursue those types of careers. And on top of that, there's not a lot of young women role models. So this year, it's a very good year for the trades overall. I'm starting to see lots of movement for women empowerment, a lot of functions that are happening to help women in the trades. And I feel like this is just past COVID. We're now into like a fun world, and I'm getting to be part of all these events, and it's really nice to see young women who are interested in the trades. It gives me chills because just 3 years ago I got out of high school and that wasn't offered to me. So but I still feel like it's important to be a role model so that those young women have someone they can relate and talk to, because it's really hard sometimes to talk to somebody who's a little bit older because it can be intimidating. But overall, I do hold my platform so close to my heart because I've been doing skilled trades for the past 6 years now, and there's been positives, negatives. I've been able to do amazing things. I've done a welding competition where I was the only female, and I'm starting to notice the respect that women are getting overall in the trades because we are the future in them as well.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I've always admired your platform. I've known about it since I've known you, and you know, you're a person that really like walks the talk. Like, you really do what you're saying, and you're living it as part of like your daily life, which I absolutely love. But I want to talk about a bit about the pageant you're in, of course. So I know that there's a bit of a change that's happening to the competition this year. Can you elaborate for the people who may not know about that?
Okay, yeah. So previously it was called Miss North Ontario. I did compete twice at Miss North Ontario. So this year it has changed over to Miss Ontario Regional Canada Pageant. And the reasoning behind that is to allow more women in Ontario to have access to compete as well. The pageant is a very empowering weekend. So to see it expand for women across Ontario is very huge for the pageant. I think this is going to bring a lot of girls as well. You know, Ontario is a big part of Canada, I gotta say. Like, we're a huge province, so to have that opportunity for other girls to experience what I've been able to experience is quite amazing. The pageant itself is just there's tons of workshops, and the girls are just really amazing. Cheryl and Natalie, who also are co-presidents of the pageant, truly just have a heart of gold, and they want to do the best they can to help women get out of their shells. And that's where my pageant journey started. And I feel like I'm finally older now, and I feel like I'm a different person, and I'm excited to be back in.
I just recently had the pleasure of going to Sudbury and experiencing one of the infamous Cheryl and Natalie pageants. It was really fun. But it's so interesting that there's such a huge community of Northern Ontario women competing in pageants. Why do you think there's such a strong bond of you guys up there?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say, honestly, Cheryl's pageant has really brought the Northern girls together. I feel just because we are smaller in communities or smaller towns, there's not much things like versus those big cities in Ontario, like Toronto, there's more opportunities. So pageantry is a lot more available versus not having that out in the Northern area. It was like kind of a way to gather us Northern girls who live so far apart, but yet we're so close together in the way we do things. So I truly believe that Cheryl's pageant really helped bring the Northern girls out of our shells, I guess. But yeah, I think that is why the community is so strong. We just don't have much available to do. So when something like this comes up and you jump at the occasion to it, you realize how amazing pageantry is. And next thing you know, you're like me 5 years in, and I'm stopping now.
I love that. So Chloe, you started your pageant journey 5 years ago with that exact same pageant with the exact same title. But within the 5 years, you've won a national title, you've gone internationally. What do you think you're going to take, or what are you taking with your past Galaxy experience and bringing it to your new title now?
Oh, I love this question. Okay. So, I think something that I realized after Galaxy was that was my fourth pageant. And there was always a mindset that I went into each competition was, if I don't succeed, I want to get my scores back, and I want to see what I need to work on so I can improve myself. So I feel after the Galaxy pageant, it felt so rewarding because I knew I worked hard for it. And to see my platform go to life at a national level, that's what I dreamed of doing, because I knew that I was someone who wants to work the title, not let it sit on the shelf. And I believe that's what the new evolution of pageantry is. And it's important to be able to empower women. And because I just know there's that lack of female role models in what I'm doing, after that experience, I knew like I can continue to advocate, I can continue to make a difference. So I feel I've just grown, and I've learned that if you work hard at something, you can make it happen. And that was really my experience after Galaxy, was seeing my hard work and feeling like it was time, to just do something great with it too.
Yeah, I mean, like, speaking of stuff like you do with your title, I would never ask you this, but what have been people's reactions to seeing someone who's in the trades and being a pageant queen? Because, I mean, to most people, that would seem like a stark difference. So what is your response to something like that?
Okay, this is actually a question that I get a lot, because when I'm in pageantry and I talk about trades, everybody's like, oh, what? And then when I'm in the trades and they're like, you do pageants? So the reaction is definitely different. Trying to bring two different worlds together is not easy. And I somehow figured out a way to be able to do that. And a question that I recently had, so I spoke with somebody who's high up in a mining company here in Sudbury during one of my recent events. And her question was, why pageantry? And at that moment, it kind of hit me. I was like, oh my God. I was like, just like the evolution of women that we are now seeing in these industries is how pageantry has evolved. So we are now respecting women in the trades. We are now encouraging women in the trades, and we are definitely empowered when we're doing work like that. And through pageantry, it has evolved in the way where it's you look at a title holder and she's a role model. She's making a difference. She's working hard. She's advocating. So pageantry, if you would have asked me like 50 years ago if I wanted to enter, I probably wouldn't. But if you look at how pageantry has changed now, it's definitely empowered women making a difference. And to me, it's important to accept women and to encourage women to be able to use their voice. So that's how I kind of talk about both worlds. And then they're like, I had no idea. And I was like, oh, girl, I can keep going.
That's awesome.
I have another one if you want me to go, because I have so many questions for Chloe.
Go ahead.
I wanted to know, because I was in a similar boat just a couple years ago. Going from teen to miss is very difficult. It's a big step up in terms of just like life experience and people that you're competing against. So how are you thinking you're going to manage this? Well, you've competed in a Miss pageant as before, but this is kind of your first time in Canada doing it, right? So what is your game plan, and how are you going to change your like mindset from teen to Miss?
So that's actually really funny, because that was the first question I had at internationals in the interview. Just because I was definitely, if not the youngest contestant, I believe I was.
You were the youngest.
I think there was one girl who was just a year younger than me.
I thought you were youngest.
No, I'm pretty sure Bethany was a year younger than me.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So that was my first question, and obviously I was really intimidated for my first Miss interview. And the first thing I was able to say was, I work in a world that is definitely male dominated. So to me, it's important to have a strong mindset, because I do face moments where I have to stand up for myself and stand up for women. So that has definitely made me mature a lot quicker, in the sense where I have to hold my own ground, be strong, and keep pushing, because if I don't work at that goal every day, men won't recognize me for my skills and rather for my gender. And I'm working hard to show that I work hard. I deserve the spot here, and I deserve to be recognized for my skills. So for me, that mindset is kind of what I went into Miss, was that I deal with some harsh comments, or sometimes just physical limitations where I have to kind of hold the ground. So going into Miss, I could bring that kind of mindset with me, and it definitely helped me out big time because there's a huge gap between 20, 23, and 26. We're just different places in life. So for me, yeah, my trade has definitely made me grow up quick, but it's definitely rewarding, and I know that continuing to do my efforts is going to change the future, and hopefully for the younger women who follow in my lead, they won't have to face that kind of comment or issue.
I love that. Well, you are definitely a role model, and you definitely killed it in the Miss division. Can we just say, at her first Miss pageant, also an international pageant, Chloé, you were in the top 10, and you were also best in interview. And listening to you throughout this conversation, it has shown all of us why you won best in interview, but then it also kind of shows Liz and I, like, Chloé's grown up. Chloé is not Miss Galaxy Canada anymore. Like, you are, like, you've grown before our eyes, and it's just so crazy to see. Like, you and I especially have gone through the journey together. We both went from one division to the other, both being our first in that one division. We were roomies for a day at internationals. So it's so great to see you progress. And I know you weren't sure about doing pageants after internationals, but I am so glad that you are, because you bring so much joy on stage, but you also bring so much passion with what you do and your title. Jenna Marie is in the chats, and she says, "Hi, ladies." She says, "Chloé, you are amazing. Always so proud of you."
Oh, I'm such an emotional person, so I don't want to start crying.
Don't cry. She would. She actually would.
Yeah,
you would cry, and then Jenna would start crying.
I know. We'll FaceTime together after, and we'll cry together.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Honestly, Chloé's one of the most passionate people when it comes to pageants. I remember, I feel like we've told this story before, Chloé, but after she won, for those who don't know, I was the Team Galaxy Canada before Chloé.
You were?
Well, I'm something more now. And so we were backstage after I crowned Chloé, and she was like, "Pinch me, it doesn't feel real." And it was such a fun, emotional moment, because my chapter was closing, but I knew that she was gonna do amazing things with it, and I mean, she's continued to do that. But now that you've progressed into a new system and a new journey, what are some things you're excited about for the Miss Ontario Regional Canada pageant?
Okay, so there's a few things that I'm excited for. Recently, I've been getting more involved with women empowerment associations, and especially women in trades, just because those movements are starting up really this year. So I've been able to kind of get along with this woman called Alicia Woods. So she's the founder of Cover Girls. So she women workwear here in Sudbury. So an issue that we face being a woman in the field is obviously when we get to site or on to work, proper equipment is a safety procedure, and having stuff that doesn't fit properly is definitely dangerous. And she's been involved in the skilled trades for 30 years, and I look to her as a female role model because she had to go to work feeling, wearing these pants that are way too big and these shirts that are too big, and you just don't feel your best self when you're trying to do a job where you're already facing some stereotypes and some other issues. So meeting her was definitely something I was excited to work with her, and I will be working more with her this year. So she's a boss lady. She founded this company because she knew that we needed that, and she's grown tremendously. So that was something I'm excited to be working with her. I'm excited to be on a journey with her too, and her kind of seeing my journey at the same time, as well as me focusing on learning different trades. I have a project that I'm working on that I want to release before the pageant, kind of showing what I'm doing, hands-on videos, and just trying to better myself in each trade, because I definitely believe it's important to expand my knowledge so I can speak upon different trades. And there's different limitations in each trade, so just being aware. So those are a couple things that I'm doing, as well as continuing my volunteer work. It's something that I do hold dear to my heart. I have thousands of community hours, so as well as being an advocate, a role model, I like being out in my community and helping as much as I can. So I have a couple other little things that I'm planning to do throughout this year. I have a couple months to prepare, but that doesn't mean I need to slack. I started the day my title, and I will continue. It's every day. It's always in the back of my head. Okay, oh, I can do this, or I can add this to my agenda. Somehow I can manage it. I don't know. I have like 20 sticky notes on my MacBook. So that's kind of how I've been prepping. So I'm prepping mentally, physically, and expanding my knowledge. So quite a few things that I'm lining up. Yeah.
That's amazing. To me, it's incredible seeing all the things that you do while you're preparing for a pageant. Like for internationals, you were working a very hectic, crazy schedule at work. And for you to actually pull through and make it to, and like, I remember I was like, oh my God, is she going to make it? Like, is she going to do this? So I was like, it's just so crazy how you, like, your passion, that Liz is saying, like, comes through with all of your pageants and what you do. Jenna says, yes, give me a call. When you said you'll FaceTime her and you two could cry together. And then the 1411 experiment says hi. So I think I know who it is. They come from Scott's channel and they watch our show every weekend. So hello. To those actually who are tuned in, I know there are a bunch of you who are watching. If you have any questions for Chloé, make sure you leave them in the live chats, and we are more than happy to ask Chloé those questions. My question to Chloé, and I know we talked about it off air, is I know your title is very near and dear to both you and your mom. Can you tell our viewers a little why?
Okay, yes. So my title is Miss Rayside Balfour, and a fun fact was that my mom did compete in the Miss North Ontario pageant, and her title was Miss Rayside Balfour. So when I originally signed up, we kind of had this goal where it was a journey that I started with my mom, and it was something that I knew she had worked so hard, but back then, like, there was just, pageantry wasn't the same, so it was a little bit harder. And from the first time I stepped on that stage, I knew that, like, not only did I want to work until one day I would have a title, but I wanted to do it for me and my mom, especially on this journey together. So she was the first person that I put my crown on, like, immediately after, and we just, like, sobbed. We cried. But so this title definitely is special because my first original sash was my mom's sash from when she competed. So we dug up and we found it in the back of the storage closet. It was like a whole day process. Wow. But my first sash that I ever wore was the sash my mother had. So it was definitely stepping up to her shoes, you know, and working to make my mom proud was definitely something that was really important to me. And I'm glad that I got to share that journey with her as well.
I would love to see your mom back on stage. Like, your mom went with us to internationals. Like, I would love to see your mom get that pageant bug back and just do her thing on stage, because she's such a supportive pageant mom and she has the experience. I think she'd do great.
Oh, she is such a supportive pageant mom. Like, I can't even begin to explain. Like, I will forget stuff and my mom will be like, okay, you gotta remember like this and that. And I'm like, oh my God, you're totally right. I didn't remember. So she helps me keep in line with my crazy schedule, because I swear I'm trying to do stuff every week and then I forget and I'm like, okay, Mom, remind me this day. And she reminds me that day. So she's definitely a really great person that I have with me, helping me out with this crazy schedule. Like, I swear I couldn't do it without her as well.
Mm-hmm. Does she, I know she's super involved, but has she given any of like her experience over to you, like tips and tricks throughout the year? Because I know pageants are a little bit different, but has she helped you in that sense?
I don't think she's really said anything about her competing. Like, I've seen her modeling books and stuff, so like I was like,
modeling books?
Yeah.
Like plural?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We want to see those.
Exposed.
So I was able to, but I feel like my mom, when she competed, so she won, it was like, my hometown is Miss Rayside, well, obviously Rayside Balfour, and she was like the princess of the carnival and stuff. So that's where she obtained her title to go compete at
Melanie.
Ontario, and she was 4th runner-up. So
Amazing.
Definitely something that I was proud of, and my mom looks super good at her modeling books, so like no shock there. I was like, okay.
Yes, Mom. I love that.
But I think pageantry, I think she likes being more behind the scenes rather than be right on the stage.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. I definitely bonded with your mom at internationals. We drove to McAllen together. We had not a near-death experience. I'm totally throwing our driver under the bus, but we did make it on safely. Speaking of moms that we bonded with at McAllen, Texas, the Costa girls are in the chat. Hi, Janice.
Hi, guys.
Janice says hello. So again, to all those who tuned in, if you have any questions for Chloé, feel free to leave them in the chat. We are actually at the halfway point of the show. And Chloé, as you know, there is a segment called 5 Tips from a Beauty Queen. And now having 5 years experience in the pageant world, what would be your 5 pageant tips for everyone watching today?
Okay, so that's a great question. I feel like it can also be good from a girl, because some girls, their heels are their priority, some are their lip gloss. So, but when it comes to tips, I would say definitely, well, for me, it's like having a strong platform makes you stand out in a crowd. So being able to relate and not have it be something that you Googled online, something that's real to your heart, because it's a lot more authentic. I remember when I first started, I was involved in the trades, and I hadn't even thought of doing that until I had met Emma Morrison, who is actually currently competing at Miss World Canada. And I had told her some of my hobbies, and she was like, no, you need to speak on that. Like, it's so different. It's so unique. So definitely something unique and different. You can build on that, and it definitely makes you stand out. So a strong platform is definitely a good tip to have. Second of all, I would say being way overpacked. I'm so good at being way overpacked, but I swear there's nothing more that you want than to be last minute and your favorite pair of heels break, but you have a second pair that's close to your first pair, so you know you can just grab that and go. Or if you need, like, I didn't have just 2 rolls of like sticky tape. I think I had like about eight rolls. So just like overpacking so that you have like one of everything in each bag, just in case you grab the wrong bag too, because you're stressed and sometimes you don't even realize what's going on, because you're like, oh, I'm gonna be late if I don't go now, and I grab something and it's the wrong one. But just, yeah, overpack everything. Like, even if you look like you're going on a 3-month trip to like the Bahamas or something, that's how I look like when I compete. I have like 4 or 5 suitcases, and like even then I feel like it's not enough. But everyone's like, you have way too much. And I'm like, yeah, but you never know. And it's come in handy. I've hot glue gunned a girl's heels backstage once. I helped with the sticky tape for a girl's bra that wasn't on right. So definitely Googling necessities you need. So that including in your packing. A third tip that would help, I'm trying to think here. For me, it was definitely practice in my heels. So when I started pageantry, I had 3-inch heels and I worked my way up. So it definitely wasn't within my first competition. Like, that was within 2-3 pageants that I was able to make my way up, and I would tape my own stage upstairs on the floor, and my parents knew like I was pageant walking because there was a stage on the floor. So definitely practice. Even when you think you had enough practice, you probably didn't have enough practice. If you're not like eat, sleep, wake up, pageant, repeat, I swear you just gotta. So you're ready when you come to the competition. That was my third one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 4th tip, I would say, now this is getting harder. Okay. I I say my third tip would definitely be, so when I first started pageants, I didn't wear fake nails because I just never had acrylics in my life. So when it came to Galaxy, it was actually the first time that I've had like stick-on nails, and I did them on the Uber ride actually to the final show. So and then I was like, Mom, look, the first time I put nails, and look what happened. So definitely having a good pair of nails, because they did break when I was on stage too. So getting your nails done, I feel like it just makes you feel like ready for your competition. I don't know what it is, but like when you get that new set on, you feel like a whole new person. You're gonna take on the world. So don't be me and don't buy stick-on nails, because trust me, when that breaks backstage and you're in the middle of the show, it's just for sure getting your nails done, getting your hair done, just getting yourself like, I think pampered overall just makes you feel better when you come to competition. You just feel like your best self, you feel refreshed, you feel like you're ready to take on the world. So that would be another tip, is treating yourself before competition. I feel like that's something that's under talked about, and we don't even realize it because we just do it. But some girls, they don't take the time to, they just panic and stress before the pageant and don't relax, which is something so needed, because you need time to clearly think your thoughts and be in the moment. So and then my last tip would relate to that tip in the way where be ready in advance. And that doesn't go to just before the pageant. It goes towards in the weekend itself, or if it's a full week, or if it's a longer pageant. But making sure you're on time, and if you're on time, you're actually late. So I'd say before time, as well as packing, being prepared like a week before, and then you have the time to go over everything again, double check that everything's in place. But definitely being prepared way in advance is definitely something that will be to your benefit. You will feel a lot less stressed if you're getting to the pageant and you've done everything you could have possibly done before, including those like 5 suitcases, and like even labeling them. Because I'd label all my bags. It'll be like interview dress, and it'll be in a sealed bag, and I know, okay, I need this for day one, and I'll even do like day one outfit. So then I know, okay, when I'm just going to, and I even put my earrings in the same bag with my dress, so that I know, like, I grab this bag and I'm ready to go. Because sometimes you think you have enough time, especially when it comes to in moment pageantry, or the schedules always move, they always change. So you have to be ready for the change. So definitely being packed in advance, and kind of just like label everything so that you're ready to go when it comes to the pageant itself. I feel like I talked for a very long time.
No, you're good. You're good.
Good
Those
ones.
are great tips. Yeah. Like Janice, as all of us also are saying in our heads, is Chloé definitely overpacks.
Well, you know what? She's right though. I'm like a serial underpacker. Like, I'm a person who can go like a week with just like a backpack and be good. But yeah, I mean, there's two opposites of that. But no, it's fun. I really liked your tips. I especially enjoyed the like the scheduling. I feel like we never talk about how bad pageant scheduling is at every competition. So just being prepared to kind of go with the flow is like a huge necessity. So I like that tip a lot.
It's true. I swear, I've never been to a pageant where like interviews
it's on time.
I don't think anyone can say they've had the same experience. So nothing wrong, just everything, always something happens, and either judges want to have a break, or some girls, you don't want to cut somebody off mid-sentence either, if they're closing up their interview, to allow them to kind of finish their, rather than panic, stress, and end your sentence there. That definitely take the time to finish your sentence, even if a timer, some pageants are interviews time, but definitely take the time to finish what you were saying, even if it's on stage. That's the worst. Seeing where it's like you hear the ringer and then you panic, and so yeah, that's something else. If I can add that into make that like a 6th tip, I guess.
I mean, kind of on the topic of tips and interview, you are the best in interview at the Miss Galaxy pageant recently. That's incredible. It was a huge accomplishment. I was like literally in tears. I knew like for me, interview's a big thing. I know it's a big thing for Chloe too. So I was just like, oh my gosh. But what do you think made your interview
the best?
The best. I mean, really the best. Like, how did you improve it from nationals to internationals, and how are you going to improve it even further for your next competition?
I think my interview definitely improved also as I grew up a little bit, definitely. But I think just because my platform is so unique, it kind of gives me that edge in the interview room. And as soon as I start talking about my platform, the judges want to know more about it because it's just so unique. It's so different. So it definitely helps to stand out in the sense where not only is it like my platform, but I do live and breathe it every day. So it's something that I'm passionate for, and it's just something that we lack role models in as well. So that's why when it comes to the interview, sometimes I don't know actually what to say because it's like, you know, it's so different from pageantry, but yet those something that I did mention in the interview as well is that although my trade is so different from what we call like super feminine and everything, those are both my best versions of myself. Like me in my field, that's me, but me through pageantry, like I'm also a female, and I feel the issue that women do have in the industry is that they can't allow themselves to be feminine. You know, I work with the boys, I have to be masculine, I have to keep this kind of strong mindset, and I can't show like I'm a proud female, but I truly believe I'm trying to show for those women in the trades too. Like, no, I definitely work in the trades and I have grease mud on my face, everything too, but I'm still gonna put on my high heels, I'm still gonna put on a dress, and I'm still gonna be a strong woman because that's something that some women do struggle in the trade is that they think, you know, I have to stay masculine. So that is something else that I did speak about in my interview is kind of the challenges that we face that we don't even realize, I guess. But going into this pageant this time, I feel I'm networking my platform even more. So I feel that I've grown so much, and I feel it's like perfect timing in my life for me to be back in the pageant. Like everything with what I'm doing with school, what I'm doing outside of school, everything's just lining up so perfect. The way that the world is changing, the way that females are starting to get recognized in the trades. It's the perfect year for my platform, I have to say, because we are starting to see a lot of movement, and I get to be part of it firsthand. So to be able to share that this year and this time around my competition, I feel is very important. And I have a couple things planned, but I don't want to give all my secrets yet. So, but I definitely feel it's a good year for just women in general. I feel like there's so much more empowerment movements, and I feel proud to be part of this generation of women, and especially to be proud in my own field where I feel for the first time ever, so I'm in my second year, but in the first years that we have in my program, we finally have 4 females, and it's the first time. So I got to speak to the girls, and it was really nice to see. We went from 1 to 4. It doesn't seem like a lot if you put it at a ratio, but that is huge. That is definitely huge for the women in the field, in the industry. And even as far as for right now, only 16% of women work in the mines. So that's crazy. That is not a lot. That's not a lot. And when you do meet a girl who works underground, she's either the only female on her crew. So it's crazy where it's like, oh my God, like I would love to have another girl on my crew, you know? And even this summer, like sometimes I was the only girl on site. We only had 2 in our crew. So it was definitely like depending the rotations. I was either the only girl on site and the only girl at school. So yeah, it's crazy, but getting to see, I guess, those events that I participated in the last month have been honestly breathtaking. seeing young girls trying power tools, equipment, and even getting the spark to just talk to them about what I'm doing and how you can grow and go so far with skilled trades, and to allow these girls to be recognized and to try what's up in the industry and have the industry support women in the trades is also something that's super huge and that we're now seeing. And I can't wait to continue to be part of these events and to be able to continue to share my journey for these girls, because I know that the future of trades is 100% women. We are changing the industry. I've met a guy actually, and he said that we're going to bring a big change to just in regards of safety being recognized and it being important. And I even met a girl who she said there's just something so breathtaking when you hear a girl pick up the microphone and she's driving those big trucks underground and, oh, I need a haul truck here. And then she made a joke where she's like, oh, you better watch out. We have a blonde female coming with the haul truck right now, so you better watch out. Seeing, I guess, the smiles and these young girls who are, just being part of something that I wasn't part of 3 years ago. And that's what's mind-blowing, is that this wasn't available to me 3 years ago when I got out of high school. So to see it now, it's just amazing. And I have such high hopes for women in the industry. So we're coming in, and we're coming in hot.
I love it. It's so fun. We've talked some about your schooling and pageants. What are some things that you do just outside of that, just in your free time, I guess?
So not that I have much free time, but definitely I'm an outdoors person. So hunting, fishing are some things that I thoroughly enjoy to do. It's just the quality time I get to spend with my family doing it as well. I'm super family oriented. And even this year, hunting is something I've gotten more into. And it's just because I haven't really had anyone to go with. So it's kind of a little bit harder to get to know those things. And that was the same thing with fishing. I always depended on having friends that had the kind of stuff to be able to go do that. So even last winter, I said, you know what? I'm independent. I'm going to buy my own, I bought my own ice hut. I bought my own tackle box, everything. So I set myself up for winter, and I said, you know what? I'm going to invite people. I'm going to take initiative. So I was just I can't wait on people to do things that I love, but I got to work hard to do it myself. So now fishing is something I've always loved. So I've finally just able to do it on my own now because I got the stuff for it. So that was definitely something I love to do. I love snowmobiling, and I just recently bought my first ever big purchase, a brand new snowmobile. So that's
nice.
That was exciting. The guy, when I called the phone, he didn't think I was old enough to buy one. I was like, I swear I'm not 16. And I swear I worked my payrolls were 112 hours. I was working 12-hour days. I paid off this sled. So
wow.
That was something. And I had some people make comments oh, you can't brag about it being other people's money. And I said, no, I worked for that. That was my money. I did 12-hour days. I worked out of town weeks at a time, and I would stay for extra overtime pay. So no, I definitely worked for it. And then they kind of get that look where they're oh, and I'm yeah, I did work for that. So
I did that.
It's not anybody else's money but mine.
That's amazing.
So definitely an outdoors person. I feel some things aren't taught in the classroom. So spending time with my grandpa, who teaches me definitely more about hunting, and he's definitely helped me in the trades. So definitely my grandfather too has been somebody that I'm super close with, who's kind of see me more as his grandson than his granddaughter. Which I'm not mad about, because I swear he's made me a tough woman, I can say. So yeah, definitely an outdoors person, but also pageantry, I have to say, which is the total opposite of everything I just said. Meeting the girls through pageantry, some of my closest friends have come through pageants, and And I gotta say, I have sisters for life, and that's definitely something else that I'm proud to say is that pageantry has allowed me to meet other strong women with different platforms, different voices, different backgrounds. So definitely pageantry is one of my favorite hobbies, and I can say that it is because it's been 5 years and it's been the most rewarding 5 years. I've grown as a person because of pageants. And it's something that I swear every pageant girl is like, you have to join. And it's like, no, you have to join. I swear it changed me altogether. It's allowed me to grow. It's allowed me to meet amazing women, amazing people. So yeah, I would say, and besides that, school is definitely another thing that I'm doing. And I feel like all of us college students can relate. It's been a hard 2 years doing schooling online, jumping from online to in school. So definitely working to adapt with change and allowing, I guess, my education and my, I guess, the online not defeat my way through schooling. So yeah, that's about everything that I do. So
Love it.
Yes, Chloe, you truly have grown before our eyes, literally.
Not that she's much younger than me, but I just feel like she's my little baby sister. She's
right?
a year younger than me, but still.
You've definitely grown so much in like the short but not so short time that we've known you, and being able to hear just this interview. I remember our first interview together, and now seeing where you are now, it's just, I love it. And I love seeing how passionate you are and seeing like you are pioneering you're living and breathing your platform for the girls after you. Like you said, there's one and now there's four. So keep doing what you're doing. I think you're doing absolutely amazing. Before we wrap things up, Scott John Brown is in the chat. He says hello. Hi. So before we wrap things up, Chloe, is there any last things you'd like to say to our viewers watching?
Oh gosh. Now I have to think about that. Any last thing, like tips or just like anything in general?
Any last message?
Okay, I say definitely keep up with my social media because I will be posting some interesting things, and to just continue to follow my journey because I am definitely excited for what this year is going to hold. The pageant's in May. And like I said, I've already started planning and prepping many things, and I'm definitely going to be advocating my platform a lot more this year. And I'm working hard in my skilled trades to again learn different trades where I feel it's important to be able to be a role model in that sense. So just being what I'm going to be involved with is going to be big for me and big for women in the trades. So to just follow my journey because I want to advocate for both pageantry, empowered women, and women in the skilled trades. So definitely, yes, keep following my journey. And I had to actually make a new Facebook page because Facebook wouldn't allow me to change my name. So it's
So what is your socials?
Miss _Chloé Arsenault. That's my Instagram page, and my pageant page is Chloe's Pageant Journey, or Chloé Arsenault's Pageant Journey. So definitely, I definitely will even comment that so that people can follow my socials because I will continue to be advocating, doing volunteer work and fundraising again this year. The fundraiser that is associated with Miss Ontario is Northern Ontario Families and Children with Cancer. So I will be doing fundraisers, and I have something that I'm hoping to do coming up. So that too, to keep an eye out because I will be posting some more exciting things. But other than that, I'm just excited to be able to be here today and to continue to just talk about my platform with other empowered women that are on this call right now. I have to say sisters, but they're still empowered, strong women. So it's chat full of strong women.
I love it.
That's
Thank
what we're here
you.
for. Thanks, Chloe. Liz, before we wrap things up, where can people find you online?
You can find me on my pageant Instagram at Elizabeth Mark Pageantry, and my hair and makeup stuff at Elizabeth Mark Artistry. And if you're interested in a new pageant, you don't know where to start, come on over to Canadian National Miss. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, on our website, everything. How about you, Regine?
You guys can follow me or subscribe here to my YouTube channel for the Pageant Sit Down. If you're actually enjoying this video, make sure you give it a like. I see that there are a few coming through, so thank you everyone who's watching. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at It's Regina Lena. Chloe, once again, thank you so much for joining us. I know you are very busy, so the fact that we were able to get you on today, thank you. Thank you for giving us an hour of your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm actually going to be heading to hockey in 30 minutes. So.
Oh, perfect.
She's like, here, I got
Next
you guys
thing.
for an hour. We're good. Yeah, you're so busy. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's honestly so great seeing your journey grow, seeing you grow as an individual, having known you for all these years. I cannot wait to see you take your new title in May. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Mm-hmm. And Regina, we have a little announcement, right?
Oh yes, we do have an announcement. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. We'll get back to you, Chloe, in just a second. So as you all know, we are in a very busy season right now with work and life and school. And as you heard from Liz, she has a lot of projects going on. So as of next week, or this week, I guess, we will be doing a every other week schedule here on the Pageant Sit Down. So we will not have a show next week, but we will have one the following week, and it will be like that moving forward. For now, we'll see how schedules change, but yeah, that's the announcement. Life is crazy. We're just like Chloe. We're so busy, and I'm sure our viewers have noticed, like, our dates are not always the same anymore, but we gotta do what we gotta do. But we are grateful for all of you who have tuned in, so make sure you continue to follow our socials. We are on Facebook and Instagram at The Pageant Sit Down. So find out when we will be on next. Again, Chloe, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you all follow Chloe and her journey, because I know you're just getting started, even though you were going to take a break, but we knew that wasn't going to happen.
We all knew, but it was okay. It was a cute little story, but we all knew.
She's like, I'm going to take a break. No, you're not.
We're so excited for you, though, and we're wishing you tons of luck at the pageant, so we can't wait for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're so welcome. Keep doing what you're doing, and everyone, we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.